Small electric cars were, until fairly recently, outrageously expensive compared with their petrol equivalents. Just 3 years ago, the tiny Honda E cost £37,000, and even the cheapest Renault Zoe was 30k. Well, thankfully, things have changed a bit, and now some of the cheapest cars, full stop, are actually EVs, including this one, the all-new Renault Twingo. In this review, I'll tell you how much it's likely to cost, what the interior is like, how practical it is, and of course, what it's like to drive. So stay watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the What Car channel for lots more new car reviews, reveals, and comparison tests. Now, the first thing we should probably do is address the elephant in the room, the Renault 5, because with the 5, Renault already has a small EV with retro styling, and with prices starting at £21,500 when you factor in a £1,500 grant from the government, it's already one of the 10 cheapest EVs on sale in the UK. So why would you buy one of these instead? Well, the Twingo is going to be even cheaper. All Renault will say at the moment is that prices will start at less than £20,000, regardless of whether it qualifies for the EV grant or not. But will it get the grant? Well, to be honest, no one apart from maybe the Department for Transport seems to know the exact rules, but eligibility does depend on where the battery was made, how much energy is used in its production, and where the car is put together too. We expect the Twingo to qualify for at least a £1,500 grant, but that could actually rise to £3,750 because at the moment the batteries are shipped in from China. But by the time this arrives in the UK in about 6 months' time, production of the battery is expected to shift to Hungary. So this could start at less than £17,000, which makes it very cheap indeed. Now, there's only one battery and it has a usable capacity of 27.5 kilowatt hours. And for the first time in a Renault, it has an LFP rather than NMC chemistry. And what that means is that it doesn't contain cobalt. So there's less mining needed in Africa, which obviously isn't great for the environment, but also you can charge it to 100% and drain it completely without ruining the lifespan of the battery. And you will need to do that if you're going on a longer journey, because the new Twingo has an official range of 163 miles or 156 miles with these 18-inch wheels rather than the 16s you get on the entry-level Evolution trim. Now, that is a better range than what's offered by the much cheaper Dacia Spring or an entry-level BYD Dolphin Surf, but it's fractionally worse than the Leapmotor T03 and about 30 miles down on the cheapest Renault 5. The Twingo can't charge very quickly either because the peak power it can accept is just 50 kilowatts, although arguably the average charging speed is more relevant. And if you plug in with a battery level at 10%, you will add 114 miles of extra range, officially at least, in half an hour. That's more than you'll add in a Dacia Spring, a Leapmotor T03 or a Citroën EC3 Urban, although not as much as you'd add in an entry-level Renault 5. A full 0 to 100% charge of the battery at home using a 7 kilowatt wall box will take around 5 hours. So clearly the Twingo is aimed at buyers who mostly drive around town and in the suburbs, so it's no surprise it's pretty small. This is just under 3.8 metres long, which means it's slightly longer than a Dacia Spring, but shorter than a BYD Dolphin Surf, a Citroën EC3, or indeed the Renault 5. But what are its underpinnings? Is this effectively just a Dacia Spring in drag? Well, actually no, because the front of the car, including the suspension, is straight from a Renault 5. The rear is simplified though, because the 5 has independent rear suspension like you'll find on a lot of bigger and more expensive cars. This has a more rudimentary setup borrowed from the Renault Captur. Now, clearly one of the biggest draws of the new Twingo, as is the case with the slightly larger and more expensive Renault 5, is this retro styling. And obviously this is a modern take on the first generation Twingo from the early 1990s. And the proportions of this new car are actually very similar. I'd argue this is a more faithful copy of the original Twingo than the latest Renault 5 is of its 70s namesake. But which retro EV design do you think is best? The new Renault Twingo, the Renault 5, the Mini Cooper Electric, or perhaps the Fiat 500e? Let us know in the comments below. And also let us know which of the Twingo's 6 paint colours you'd choose if you were buying one. This mango yellow, absolute red, absolute green, star black, glacier white, or schist grey. Now, I've already told you this is slightly shorter than the Renault 5, so you're probably assuming it has a smaller boot. But that depends, because if I open this tailgate, I will find 205 litres of space for my luggage, which is only slightly more than in a Fiat 500e and about 70 litres down on what you'll find in the boot of a Renault 5. Plus, 50 of those litres are actually under this split floor here, which is a handy place to put the charging cables. But that brings me on to one of the Twingo's party pieces, because if I pull this little toggle here, I can slide the rear seats forwards by up to 17 centimetres. And if I do that on both sides, I now have a 305 litre boot. Presumably that is up to the ceiling because there's no parcel shelf in here, but it does mean that I've got a bigger boot now than I would have in a Renault 5, and almost as big as the one in a Citroën EC3. The only problem is, with these seats slid all the way forwards, I can't actually get in, so I'm going to have to slide them back. But I can do that from the rear seat area here, so I don't have to go round to the boot. And it is nice to have that flexibility because, of course, you don't have to have them all the way forwards or all the way back. You can make a bit of a compromise between rear legroom and boot space. I should also point out before I get in that you can fold these rear seats down. They split 50-50 because the Twingo is a 4-seater, it only has 2 seats in the back. And although these seat backs lie flat, there is a big step down onto the floor of the boot, so that's going to be a bit annoying. Another thing you can do is recline the angle of the rear seat backs, and that is the most upright setting, and that is the most reclined setting. So I'm not sure what the point of that is. But anyway, if I get inside, you will see that rear space isn't brilliant. Now, I am just over 6 feet tall. This seat in front is in my driving position. But look, rear knee room is pretty tight, roughly on a par with the Renault 5, I'd say, perhaps a little bit better. But headroom is frankly terrible. I can't sit upright at all. So this headrest behind me is serving no purpose at all. Although on the plus side, because of this light headlining, it does stop it feeling too claustrophobic. And although I can't wind down the rear windows here, I can pop them open slightly if I need a bit of fresh air. I've also got a completely flat floor across here, although the floor does raise up slightly towards the rear seats, and that means I can't really move my feet back and forth very much. So overall, rear space is definitely better in the BYD Dolphin Surf and the Citroën EC3. But if you're just planning on putting people in the back occasionally, the Twingo will be absolutely fine. Thankfully, there is quite a lot more space in the front of the Renault Twingo. Headroom is absolutely fine. My head, as you can see, is nowhere near the ceiling. And also, I can slide the seat back far more than I need to. So this is pretty well suited to taller drivers. But the interior is also really cheery, isn't it? You've got this body coloured section here on the inside of the door. That comes whichever trim level you go for. And if you go for Techno trim, which is what this car is, then you also get the body coloured section on the face of the dashboard there. Evolution models, they have a white dashboard face, whichever exterior paint you choose. And look, there are a lot of hard plastics in here that don't feel particularly premium, so this doesn't feel as upmarket inside even as a Renault 5. But because it's all quite solid and because of the quite vibrant design, that stops it from feeling too cheap or low rent. The driving position is also very good. The seat could do with a bit more lumbar support if I'm being honest, but otherwise there's plenty of adjustment. And also visibility isn't too bad despite these heavily raked windscreen pillars. Like the Renault 5, the Twingo also has physical controls for the air conditioning. In fact, these are even better than the 5s because I've got knobs for adjusting the interior temperature and the fan speed. And because those knobs are quite big, it's very easy to make minor tweaks while you're driving along. All versions come with this 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system, but if you go for cheaper Evolution trim, then the system isn't Google-based. If you go for this Techno, then you get Google Maps and Google Voice Assistant, and it's the same basic system that you get in the Renault 5. And that means, by class standards, it's really good. It's quick to respond as well, and because it's quite high up on the dashboard, it's easy to see and it's easy to reach while you're driving. Storage in here is pretty good actually. I've got 3.6 litres apparently on this centre console here, and you can buy 3D printed accessories to divide this space up in various different ways. There's also a ledge below the aircon controls and another one higher up on the dashboard, which is useful for your passenger to stow their phone. The only thing is though, that the door pockets are pretty small. In fact, I can't even fit this quite small bottle of water in them. But overall, when you consider that this is the lower end of the small electric car class, the Twingo is pretty nice in the front. But what's it like to drive? So I said the Twingo is designed more for urban driving than tearing up and down motorways. And I'm in Ibiza town at the moment, and this is actually very pleasant to drive. The turning circle is just 9.9 metres, which is even tighter than a Renault 5s and much smaller than a Hyundai Instas. And when you combine that with light steering, that makes this car very manoeuvrable and easy to drive in town. The ride is fairly comfortable too. This does, as I said earlier, have less sophisticated rear suspension than a Renault 5, but you wouldn't really tell, driving around town at least. And this certainly deals with bigger imperfections and potholes in a much more composed way than a Dacia Spring would. Another good thing is the brake pedal feels a bit firmer than the Renault 5s, and that makes it easier to judge how much pressure you need to put on it to slow down smoothly. The 5's pedal isn't bad, but it's quite light during the first few millimetres of travel, so it can feel slightly grabby at low speeds, but the Twingo's is slightly better judged. Another thing that seems better than in the Renault 5 is the response of this lipstick-shaped gear selector here, because in the 5, and other electric Renaults for that matter, then sometimes if you're really quick with selecting drive or reverse, it doesn't always register the gear you want. But here, I haven't found any issues with that at all, so I think Renault has sped up the reactions a bit, which is nice. But what about at faster speeds? Well, this doesn't feel as grown up or as composed as a Renault 5 or a Nissan Micra. Those are more expensive options, of course. And one of the main reasons for that is that this is noisier. So you can hear a lot more tyre noise, and generally the car sounds more open and as though there's less sound deadening inside, which is probably the case because of course this is cheaper. But again, this is far, far better and more comfortable out of the city limits than a Spring or a Leapmotor T03, and it actually handles better than a Citroën EC3 too. Now the suspension is softer than in a Renault 5, so you notice there's more body lean when you're going around corners quickly, but not too much, and the steering is also accurate, although it is quite light. That's good when you're driving around town, but on faster, twistier roads like this, I wish you could add a bit more weight to the steering. In the Renault 5 you can do that by switching to sport mode, but there is no option to do that in the Twingo. One thing this has that the Renault 5 doesn't though, at the moment at least, are these paddles behind the steering wheel, and you can use those to adjust the level of regenerative braking very easily when you're driving along. And there's even a one pedal mode that brings the car to a pretty quick stop when you just lift off the accelerator pedal. Although you only get that one pedal mode and these paddles if you go for techno trim, which is what this car is. Now this isn't a particularly quick car, it only has 80 brake horsepower, so by electric car standards, it's actually fairly slow. But acceleration is nippy enough at town speeds, and when you get out on the open roads, it's okay. This will do 0 to 60 in 12.1 seconds. So quite a lot slower than the Renault 5, but again, a bit quicker and a bit more adept to faster road driving than a Dacia Spring. Now, as I've said, there are cheaper electric cars out there, namely the Dacia Spring and the Leapmotor T03, but frankly, those aren't very good. And let's be honest, you're probably not going to be overly excited about the prospect of buying one. Whereas with the new Twingo, you really could. Admittedly, a lot of that has to do with the retro styling, the bright paint jobs that it's available with, but this is fundamentally a good car and feels a lot less out of its depth on faster roads than cheaper rivals. And yes, it will be more expensive than a Spring, but it's also likely to be significantly cheaper than a Renault 5 or a Nissan Micra, two options that are admittedly quieter on the move and feel a bit more upmarket inside. As always, we'll be benchmarking the Twingo against its key rivals when we get hold of one in the UK, but what should we test it against? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this review. If you want to watch another one, click up there, and for our full detailed written review on the new Renault Twingo, click there to head to whatcar.com.